for any following Allied forces. So these guys are coming on now. Well, let's say it's Germany 1945. This is almost their back garden. It would be like the British Army fighting on Salisbury Plain, fighting in the Bovington training area. They're going to know a lot of this area like the back of their hand, which is going to make things 10 times worse for the Allied armies. But this parade of vehicles is quite spectacular. So at the front here, we've got an SD Panzer 222, actually a pre-war design, armoured car built for reconnaissance. However, unlike most armoured cars of that period, that early war, pre-war period, it does pack quite the punch. That is the 20mm cannon, similar thing to what's on the Panzer II. That can deal quite a lot of damage. So while it may just be an armoured car, that is something the Allies are going to have to worry about. Behind it, we have the New Zealand Panzer III. A Panzer III in this period is not going to be in a mainline regiment, battalion, whatever formation. It is a versatile vehicle. In the back of that, there are some Panzer Grenadiers, troops specifically trained to operate alongside armour, each providing mutual protection to each other, which is going to be a problem for any unprepared Allied force. Behind that is a French van. Some of you will be going, why is there a French van? Some of you will be going, why are you asking me if it's a French van? It's obvious. When the Germans went into France in 1940, they captured as many things as they possibly get their hands on, including the main Citreon production plant. Not only did they then pinch a bunch that were in service of the French army, they kept building them. So those Citreon trucks, vans, whatever, are in huge numbers, especially during the early operations of the German front into the Soviet Union, into the Balkans. We've got one here that's clearly been left behind the Germans somewhere, and it is showing a Panzer III. And this was had in the Soviet Union in 1941, it didn't go particularly well. It remains the German, I think, is one place to call it good. The Soviet people called KVs. On a 1945 battlefield, I would not want to be that anti-tank group. However, it might well pack a punch. There might be lighter Allied armour that can get through. Armoured cars, side shots on light tanks. But still, light anti-tank weapons like the Pak-36, is you can move it. If any of you had a chance to see our long 88 in the tank story hall, you can't really move that with a few people. It's quite a big weapon. This, mobile, conceal it nicely, get it into position in a quick snap ambush. Brilliant if you're facing light armour, as I said. What the Germans appear to have done here, if you've been paying attention, they set up a bit of a rearguard. Utility vehicle, however, to get in and out of situations unseen and quite rapidly, it is really quite good. The WWII Jeep, of course. I would have actually the hot to get Jeep that was built by the 2024, but they are taking that engine. Behind it, we have the other end of the running spectrum, the light tank, the Chaffee, the M75 around. That is going to be a problem for any German resistance. Having that mobility with that weapon is vital. But I have a half duck, because nobody could build enough half ducks to suit anybody's needs. Germans couldn't. Oh, this isn't good. The trap has been sprung. Allied recon units have clearly got a little bit too close to the German spell launching. The Germans have opened up. The infantry is debussing out of the back of the Deuce and a half. The Chaffee is moving forward to provide fire support. This is quite close and quite isolated for that Chaffee to conduct operations like this. The infantry are trying to get down. They are not quite hit yet, but it is close. There is artillery coming in. Whether that be mortar fire, bigger artillery from the rear. I don't think the infantry really care. They just know they need to get their head down. That path is opening up. It's going to be causing some damage to the Chaffee. Remember, even if it doesn't penetrate, imagine putting your head in a bell, somebody hitting the side. Oh, that's not good. Not there at all. That doesn't appear to have knocked it out. This is a truly multinational force at this point. We've got a British Chaffee, an American Stuart coming in there, and a brilliant little vehicle, the Dingo. And crucially, more infantry. You can have as much armour as you like, but if you cannot support it with boots on the ground, it is not going to work. This is ordinary armour makes Germans think about their current position and have to fall back rapidly. I think unfortunately towards the position, which is what we normally say at the museum. In a recce vehicle like the Dingo, you are not going to want to situation with infantry out in the open, drawing back, use our machine gun nest effectively that the enemy cannot really penetrate with their small arms. Themselves, they've got some more infantry coming out the back of that truck. They've created a defensive line. What you're going to have to do now is probably actually allow your enemy to dig in well. It's going to make your job 10 times hard. If you can keep the momentum up, keep them moving back, keep them on their toes. Appears to be a big offensive by the Allies here. The flank around the back, squeezing them in here. As you can see, the armour is now moving around. Most of the infantry has been distracted by the firefight going on the like death taxes and German counter-attacks. And if you're the British Battleground, the Allies, they will be expecting something. Stuart is engaging with that zone here. Fix the problem. So while the Panzer III is, let's be honest, obsolete by 1945, it is not obsolete against light armour. Doing what it's meant to do. Support and that main gun. And it is only a machine gun, but that is a rate of fire that no one can really match. Supplying formations, moving troops around the battlefield rapidly, continues to see service all the way into the Cold War, famously with the Berlin area. But in case you're eventually cut down to service, here it comes over again. Mobility of armored forces, which basically nobody else on the battlefield. There's now a carousel of Allied armour moving around into kit. Even the Deuce and the half is not the action. The Sherman takes a lot of flak. Personal with friendly infantry while dealing damage to enemy infantry. If you listen to shots through the wreckage of those burning vehicles. We've just squeezed them completely now. There is absolutely no hope of us getting out of this one. Another use of the Willis Jeep at the back there. You can strap a machine gun. Germans are talking about they have given up. That appears to be a resounding success for this early part of the Korean War. That is the most numerous American tank available. fully. Thank you so much to James. This is his first Tankfest here at the Tank Museum because we love to see your pictures often. You get shots that we just don't